Good day, this is Anjali Desha and I will be discussing about verb phrase. A verb phrase is a syntactic unit which starts with a verb and all clusters of words that follow. A complete verb phrase functions as a predicate of the subject. A verb phrase is a group of words that contains a verb and expresses an action, a condition, or a state of being. It may include auxiliary verbs, modals, and complements or modifiers. There are patterns in constructing verb phrase. First, main verb plus modifier. This pattern includes a main verb followed by a word or phrase that add more details or meaning to the word. For example, he sits alone. The main verb sits followed by the modifier alone, which tells us how he sits. Another example, I am worried. The main verb am is followed by the adjective worried, describing the subject's state. Auxiliary verb plus main verb. An auxiliary verb or the helping verb is used with a main verb to add grammatical meaning such as tense, aspect, or voice. For example, he was appointed. Was, an auxiliary verb, indicates the passive voice, and appointed is the main verb. I am amazed. Am, an auxiliary verb, indicates a state of being, and amazed is the main verb describing that state. Third is the modal plus main verb. A modal verb expresses ability, possibility, necessity, or permission and is followed by the main verb. For example, I can do that. Can, a modal verb, shows ability, and do, the main verb, describes the action. Second example, they might be angry. Might, a modal verb, shows possibility, and be, the main verb, indicates their state. Modal plus auxiliary plus main verb. This pattern combines a modal verb with an auxiliary verb and a main verb, often to express a specific aspect such as ongoing action or future intention. For example, he should be locked. Should, a modal, indicates necessity. Be, an auxiliary verb, indicates passive voice, and locked is the main verb. Second example, they might be leaving soon. Might, a modal, expresses possibility. Be, an auxiliary verb, indicates ongoing action, and leaving is the main verb. Auxiliary verb plus main verb plus modifier or complement. In this structure, the auxiliary verb and main verb are followed by a word or phrase that provides additional information. For example, he was sitting silently. Was, an auxiliary, indicates continuous tense. Sitting is the main verb, and silently is the modifier describes how he was sitting. Another example, it has represented ingenuity. Has, an auxiliary, indicates present perfect tense, while represented is the main verb, and ingenuity, or the complement, explains what is represented. And that's all the patterns of verb phrase. Each pattern builds on the main verb with additional components, modifiers, auxiliaries, or modals to create richer meanings and nuances in the sentence. Understanding these structures helps identify and analyze how verb functions in different contexts. And now let's move on to the types of verb phrase. A verb phrase has two types: the finite verb phrase and non-finite verb phrase. A finite verb phrase contains a single verb that is marked for tense, either in the present or past form. It expresses a specific action or state within a specific time. For example, many students conduct research nowadays. The verb phrase conduct is finite and in the present tense, showing an action happening in the present. Second example, I am about to finish my work. The verb phrase am is finite, indicating the present time. And another example, only few students enroll this semester. The verb phrase enroll is finite, showing a present action. Notice that in the verb phrases in each of the example, there is only one verb. In non-finite verb phrase, there are 2 or 3 verbs. In this case, the head verb could be a participle of a verb in base form. For example, I have waited for this opportunity for a long time. The verb phrase have waited includes the auxiliary verb have and the past participle waited, expressing a completed action. Another example, we have hibernated for a long time since the pandemic happened. The verb phrase have hibernated contains the auxiliary have and the past participle hibernated. And that's the end of my discussion. I hope you have learned something. Thank you.